Hello everyone. Before we get this video started, let me take a second to talk about this video's sponsor, Amino Apps. Have you ever thought to yourself, there needs to be an app for gay tangerine communists? Well, in theory, you can make one. Amino is a network of communities for literally everything a person can be interested in. Anything from anime, TV shows, food, camping, crying, anything! But the best thing about Amino is that it's a safe place for people in the LGBT plus community. Whether you're gay, lesbian, bi, trans, pan, or whatever you identify as, you are welcome at Amino. At the LGBT Amino app, you can do awesome things with other queer people. You can scroll for hours looking at gay content, art, poetry, quizzes, and polls. You can join in a text or voice chat and hang out with other people, whether that's joking around or finding a support group. But what's really cool is Amino's newest feature, the avatar chat. You can make or choose an avatar to represent yourself, and you can use that to talk to other people. I love apple pie. It's a cool way to stay anonymous or try out a new look. I've made a little chat room for you all to come check out. Just look up the Are They Gay chat, and we'll talk about whatever you want. Please come, I'm lonely.
Have you ever done a video where you don't conclude they're gay?
Well, I always like to examine both sides and take a nuanced approach.
So you're gonna do that this time? Jesus, Alex. These dudes are obviously two people that have no interest in each other, sexually, romantically, or other spectrums of sexuality that are non-platonic. And really, are they gay? Like, why can't they be bisexual, or homosexual heteromantic, or demisexual, or platonic asexual, asexual biromantic, demisexual, heteroflexible, gynosexual, androsexual, gyno-romantic, bougie sexual, Marx romantic, brunch and flexible.
These are the conditions of slavery.
John Hopkins, shrimp flexible.
You know, I use gay as an umbrella term for LGBT plus people in general.
Oh. Yeah, you're right. Now that I think about it, I haven't peed in a week.
So after the whole gay kawaii and neko boys thing subsided on Tumblr, everyone was looking for a new thing to be like, haha, gay to. And I guess they chose musicals? So now there's all this musical trash on my feed and I'm like, how dare you? After all those years of people going, oh, you're in theater? Cool. It's okay, I don't really care. But honestly, Be More Chill is kind of a meme at this point among theatrical folks. Like, if you ask someone, what's your favorite musical, and they respond, Hamilton, Dear Evan Hansen, or Be More Chill, I'm not sure if you're supposed to hate them or what, but certainly something's up. Anyways, Falsettos is a much better Tumblr meme musical, so thanks. So, Be More Chill is like this musical where this neko boy is like the living stereotype of an XD geeky guy, lol, rar XD, and his friend is the wacky kooky side character who says things like, oh my god, the 90s, lol. Now this! It's like a parody of itself, but you know what, that's okay. I don't know why it is, but, you know, whatever. Lots of people on various websites like to proclaim that Jeremy and Michael are flaming, sparkling, fabulous, lip-licking friends. But are they boy friends? Let's get to the plot. Jeremy is your typical high school dude who plays games with his best friend in his hormonal basement, and Jeremy is also a member of theater at his school.
It's a sign-up sheet for getting called gay, and that's not what I need right now.
And Jeremy is also a member of theater at his school and has a crush on Kristen. Or was it Crystal? Oh, I remember.
Christine.
So Jeremy is like not the most popular kid in town and wants to be cooler and or liked. But let's be honest, if you're a moderately attractive white guy, you have a shot of being popular anyways. So damn it, Jeremy, take advantage of your systemic power. But this sketchy boy called Rich tells Jeremy that he can be cool if he takes some pill. Like, imagine the sketchy boy is the CIA and Jeremy is the inner cities in the 80s. So Jeremy and his BFF Michael go to the mall and find the dude selling the sketchy drugs, and Jeremy takes them and then, explodes. The end. Nah, just kidding. Instead, he gets a little Keanu Reeves robot dude called a squib that tells him how he can be cool. It's like a voice in his head, except the voice in his head is a jerk. So this squib uses its computer algorithmicness to calculate how Jeremy can become cool. But I guess cool is synonymous with jerk dude bro because that's what he becomes. This Keanu Reeves just turns out to be like my dad, in that he ends up judging all my decisions and calling me worthless. Just kidding, my dad was never around. The squib literally blocks Michael from Jeremy's vision. Like, he's trying to make Jeremy into the perfect image of, like, a straight, white, popular bro. Jeremy ends up becoming friends with the suburban dream team, and he makes out with the popular girls and wears M&M shirts, and goes to parties that smell like sweat. And when Jeremy is invited to a party, Jeremy gets drunk. And when you get drunk, the matrix pill doesn't work. So, without the squib's ability to block the gay, Jeremy ends up running into Michael. And they have the biggest scorned lovers confrontation ever. Michael is trying to tell Jeremy that the squib made the sketchy guy rich fall off the deep end, but Jeremy thinks that Michael is just jealous and that he's making it all up. Michael represents his old life, and Jeremy just wants to stay in that warm and comfy closet. It's like a couple squabble. And then Michael ends up locking himself in the bathroom and crying.
Michael in the bathroom.
Jeez. They should just call this musical Middle School Simulator.
He's out there just ignoring all our history.
The fact that Jeremy's changed and doesn't care for him anymore breaks Michael's heart. The whole scene really is akin to being broken up with for the first time. The tears, the shame, the existential dread of being forgotten.
Till my face is dry, or I'll just blame it on weed or something in my eye.
Michael is also a product of his society. This is a world where homophobia is a thing, and where men showing stereotypically feminine characteristics, like crying, is a bad thing. PSA, it's not. Jeremy's just a jerk to everyone, even his dad, and his dad goes to the one place he can count on to help his son. Yahoo Answers. Nah, it's Michael. Now this all leads up to the big play. It's a Midsummer's Night Dream with zombies because, the theater department doesn't have any money. It's funny cause it's true! Christine, the love interest, is also in the play. And let's just say that during the play, things get a little spicy. And the Keanu Reeves robot has a plan to squib everyone in the school. Now, the only way to activate a squib is by drinking Mountain Dew. But the only way to deactivate it is by drinking Mountain Dew Red. The only thing that can save them is if one of them drinks Mountain Dew Red. Now, the squib tries to bribe Jeremy. He tells Jeremy that if he chooses to let the squib live by not drinking the Mountain Dew Red, he'll give him Christine. But Jeremy doesn't need that in his life. Also, using women as a reward is kind of sexist, and, Jeremy's not into that, And also, he needs his man. He needs his hero. Gordon Ramsay. Just kidding, it's still Michael. For the last part of the musical, it's literally them fighting the squib like their old times playing video games together. Jeremy ends up in the hospital because he got totally wrecked in the process, and Michael visited him every day. Every day, this piece of man stood by Jeremy's hospital bed. He probably held and cried to Jeremy's unconscious hand, serenaded Jeremy's lifeless body with Bruno Mars. Can you imagine how much dedication that takes? But they live happily ever after, and as the song says, they did end up being cool in college. I mean, you know what else sexually ambiguous hormonal teenagers do in college together? Study a lot. Oh yeah, and wake up naked next to each other. So at first glance, a lot of people seem to think that it's just one of those really close nerdy friendships. I mean, Jeremy comes off as the stereotypical sexually charged teenager.
I'm waiting for my porno to load.
Not everyone is like that, but we all know one person like that.
Okay, Alex, I'm sorry about what happened with all the Sharpies.
It's not just that, Brian. I mean, I come home and there's peanut butter everywhere.
Alright, okay, I get it. Can we move on, please?
And let's be honest, this generation's gayer than ever. The chances of Jeremy or Michael identifying as LGBT+ is astonishingly high. Even Jeremy's dad is worried that he's not straight enough.
Oh, Dad, jeez, pants!
Is that a girl? Are you here with a girl? Oh, hi, Michael.
and the whole school seems to, I guess, ship it. We all know about that famous backpack incident. You know, when they wrote Boyf on Jeremy's backpack and then Riends on Michael's. Jeremy and Michael are each other's favorite person.
Know that you are my favorite person.
If it's not romantic, they still have this whole soulmates vibe going for them. Like, they're each two halves of a whole. Without Michael, Jeremy's just a douche nozzle. And this whole squib thing is actually really symbolic in a lot of ways. The squib thing is like that emotionally manipulative version of yourself that tries to put you down. A lot of LGBT plus people, unfortunately, go through phases of self-hate. The internalized homophobia, biphobia, and general LGBT plus phobia, etc., that I and a lot of other LGBT plus people experience kind of mirrors what the Keanu Reeves squib did to Jeremy. The squib tells Jeremy everything about him is terrible, and that he can only be accomplished if he gets a girlfriend. That's part of what attracts a lot of queer people to this musical.
Oh, everything about you is so terrible.
Everything about me is just terrible.
The good thing about this universe is that the bisexuals are acknowledged to be existing. Rich, the guy who told Jeremy about the squib, realizes he's bisexual at the end of the show, but he didn't find that out until after the squib left his head, as if the squib represents the mental anguish that a lot of oppressed people can go through, that a lot of LGBT people go through. As if the squib was really just repressing Jeremy's and a lot of other people's gayness. Take this scene. Sorry, I'm finally free of that shiny, happy hive mind. When I get out of here, the ladies are gonna learn to love the real Rich Karansky. And the dudes. Oh my god. I am totally bi. Your squib's gone? But how? Ask your buddy. Antisocial headphones kid. He's been bi like a ton, by the way. What is he, your boyfriend? No judgment, just curious. Totally bi now. I'm sure some special someone will be happy to have you, Rich. You think? And you know what's a little whack? Jeremy doesn't answer! He just kind of stands around and nods and smiles and then goes back to talk to Michael. So, like, apparently, everyone thinks Jeremy and Michael are boyfriends. And when asked about it, Jeremy just goes, LOL, let's keep it ambiguous, XD.
Maybe he's just brushing it off. You know how some people just assume that we're a couple?
Nah, I hate when that happens.
Well, we're still getting married for the tax benefits though, right?
Yes. Tax benefits. There's this moment when he gets Christine to try to take the squib, and Christine asks, what's wrong with the way I am now? Jeremy is so uncomfortable with himself that he believes the only way to be better is to not be himself at all. It's really tragic. And the ending of the show is kind of... I have mixed feelings. But I guess this show just needed the obligatory straight ending, and he ended up with Christine, even after the squib is defeated. And there's nothing wrong with Christine as a person, but their relationship isn't that great, to be quite honest. Jeremy was like the gay best friend to Christine, /bisexual, not sexually interested in her because men and women can have platonic relationships. She never really saw him as a potential partner. And it sort of feels like the musical is telling the audience that once you've gone through all your trials and tribulations, you are entitled to your female love interest at the end. And that's kind of like, I don't know, bad? You know what would be nice? If Jeremy realized that he's not always entitled to what he wants, and that he can be a better person by improving himself, and not having to rely on the images of having a girlfriend or being straight, and not needing the validation of other people. Whatever. It's fine. No, it's fine, really. I mean, you know, we'll move on. I'll just re-listen to falsettos a few thousand times. It's okay. Yeah. In this post-Hamilton society that we live in, it's suddenly kind of cool to be into musicals. And it's even cooler to gayify musicals. If you had told anyone in 2014 that you shipped Glinda and Elphaba, they'd probably nod and say, what a ponderance! But now there's just an explosion of so much fan art. Musicals have always been gay, and not like gay as in two white men kissing. Wow, so scandalous! Show tunes and musicals are an integral part of queer culture, and these straights can't take that away from us. Now, I don't think Be More Chill is the dreaded queerbait, and I can understand people that don't see Jeremy and Michael as a thing, but you also gotta understand why people do. Musicals attract a lot of gays, and with that comes gay interpretations. And what I love about the show and its creators is that they do acknowledge the gay pining subtext, and the community that's built around the relationship between these two characters. They're open to interpretations, and they don't confirm one interpretation over the other. While confirmed representation would be great, this isn't a bad attitude to have towards your creation, an acknowledgement that once your work is out there, it's out there. There are a lot of questions sent to the writers of Be More Chill, but a lot especially sent to playwright Joe Trach. Like, whether Michael is straight. And it's looking pretty likely that Michael isn't straight, and that no one is straight. No one is straight! What it really boils down to is that the writers don't really want to settle on one thing because they really like fan interpretations. They deliberately made it so that Michael does not have a girlfriend, that he had in the book, and that he doesn't mention his attraction to any gender. And no one ever specifically identifies as anything except Rich, who's bisexual, so that's important too. So it seems that the are they gay question is pretty open. Now, I usually like to have my things confirmed because I crave validation, but it's a hard cookie to crack, or whatever the phrase people use. So if you want that validation, I'll give it to you.
Validate me!
Yes, Jeremy and Michael are so gay for each other. They're just so not straight. Christine is pansexual, and she later gets a girlfriend. And you know what? Jeremy is trans. Everyone is queer. I mean, hey, it's theater. A special thanks to, this video's sponsor, Amino LGBT app. I mean, the straights already have their own spaces to, be straight. I mean, like, all of TV and the government and books, legal protections, non-discrimination. So, you know what? We have an app. So we're looking pretty good. Anyways, go on to the Amino LGBT app, which is a safe community for people of all identities in the LGBT spectrum. So check it out. It's actually pretty cool. You can spend hours on there just scrolling and telling people that they're gay. And that's not an insult.